Hi, folks, and welcome to Original Firefighter. Original Firefighter is a lifestyle brand inspired by the American Fire Service. From gear for your off days to this podcast, we celebrate the fire service loud and proud every day. Remember, for every purchase you make at Original Firefighter, we give back 5% through our 5-alarm give back program, supporting mental health and wellness for all firefighters. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen, and be sure to check out originalfirefighter.com today. Let's get into the show. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us at the Original Firefighter Podcast show. I'm excited for this episode, and there's a couple reasons why. One is that if you've tuned in to a few others, you can probably see a pattern where we do have quite a few firefighters who join us. Today, I'm happy to have someone in the studio that is going to bring a different perspective, something that I'm personally passionate about, which is physical health, mental health, wellness, it's extremely important for firefighters, but that's to also say that it's important for everybody. So whether you're in the fire service or whether you're just you're just trying to have a better life and make a better life for yourself, and there are great ways to do that. And so that's why this show is going to be awesome, amazing, and that's what brings me to my guest, Phil Toldo.
There you go,
Phil. How are you doing today? I'm so happy to have you here. It's been a little bit of in the works to have you on the show, but You're here, and I'm so happy. So how you doing?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. Thank you. I'm doing good. Just got through a full day of training, so I'm ready to talk about a little bit more training.
More training? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Does that get tiresome to a degree at all?
I think it's one of those things where I can genuinely say I wake up and I enjoy what I do, at least right now, for a living. I enjoy waking up. I enjoy training people. And so it seems like a long day. Usually it's 8 to 10 hours at the gym, sometimes 12, depending on, how much clients are spread out. But at the end of the day, people are coming in for their best hour of the day. So I gotta keep the energy up either way. So I make it work. It's fun. I enjoy
Is it their best hour though when they meet the Phil Toldo?
I have to make it their best hour of the day. Most people come to me early in the morning or like after work, and they're dragging, and I gotta pick them up a little bit, and I gotta get the energy high, and I gotta make sure they're bringing their best.
Yeah. So. No, I want you to tell your story. I just want to, for the listeners and viewers, is that obviously, hey, I do know you, and I've had the pleasure, and I use that word kind of scary, but I have enjoyed the benefit of getting workouts from you, getting nutritional health tips and benefit, and I've benefited from that. I mean, I can actually talk about that for quite some time, and what I've felt, by the investment that I've made, whether it's just in my personal journey to have a good, somewhat healthy lifestyle, even though I've got this little bit of libation in front of me, and so do you, and I appreciate that. We're going to do a little cheers here to you being on the show.
Yeah, and to your retirement.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does bring up the fact that, I have recently retired from the fire department, but it stays near and dear to my heart. And, we've had a lot of those conversations too. So what I want to talk about is near and dear to your heart, which is from all, angles, it would appear you have found your niche. You're in that journey where you live it and you breathe it, and you're willing to talk about it with other people. You're willing to share the best that you can give people about physical health and mental health and all that stuff. So, go into it. How did you get into that?
Yeah, so I've been personal training for 11 years now. And so I started when I was 20 years old. And for me, I was always very active. I didn't grow up thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a personal trainer. So the way I kind of got into it was I played sports all throughout childhood and into high school. And my big thing was I wanted to be a professional baseball player. Like that's what I wanted to do. My heart was set on.
You look it for what
I appreciate it.
I think you've shared that with me before, and it's funny because as soon as you said that, I was like, you
Well, I made a little bit percentage of the way there. So, but no, like that was what I wanted to do. You know, I did tons of training, tons of travel ball, tons of everything. Like that's what probably the first 20 years of my life was dedicated to, was trying to make it big. And
did you take that as far as you could, personally think to take that? And then you said, this isn't going to just maybe work, so I got to pivot?
Yeah, so kind of how it happened was coming out of high school, everyone any competitive athlete wants to play Division I. That's what they want to do. They want to come out of high school, they want to go play at a big school and then make it to the bigs, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever it is, soccer. And so coming out of high school, I was always kind of like a utility player. So I would play some outfield, I would play some infield, but I never really had a set position. I could hit pretty well, but I never had a set position. So I didn't have any like really great, amazing offers right out of high school. But I did have a good offer to a community college. I went to Heartland Community College, and that was in Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay.
Right there by Illinois State.
Yep.
And I kind of fell in love with that school because of the coaching staff. The coaching staff was awesome. Majority of them were all ex-pro players. Our pitching coach played for the Mets. Our hitting coach and outfield coach, who was my personal kind of coach that I worked with the most, he played with the Brewers. So it was really cool to just know that I was going to be coached by guys that made it to the bigs, because that's where I wanted to go.
Sure.
And I knew just from playing baseball my whole life that making it to a good route, if you didn't go Division I, was go JUCO first and then do well in JUCO and then have a Division I or a big league team scout you from there. So
Gotcha.
Long story short, to get into the training part of things, my 2 years at Heartland when I was playing ball, our strength and conditioning coach there, who was also the pitching coach, I just kind of fell in love with what he got to do on a daily basis. And what he got to do was essentially his job. Again, he was a pitching coach on the team, but he was also the fitness director / manager of like the rec center at the college. So he would basically just run the rec, picture, Peak or the gym. Mm-hmm. Like he was the manager, he overseed everything. But then he also was the strength and conditioning coach for all the teams there. So we had softball, baseball, soccer. Mm. So he would kind of do the strength and conditioning for the teams, as well as run the rec center, as well as coach.
Yeah.
And over the 2 years I was playing baseball, I just realized that like I liked the working out part and like doing the training. I enjoyed the training and the practice more than I did playing in the games. And I don't know if that was because the games were like a lot of pressure or whatever it was. I just put a lot of pressure on myself to make it to the bigs or whatever it was. But I loved training. I loved the discipline. I loved every part of that. And so,
I mean, it's kind of, to me, it sounds like you had figured it out that going majors wasn't going to maybe be in the cards, but it clicked for you, almost as if the way that, some people deal with, mathematics, like they're really good with, calculus and long division and whatever. Yeah. But for you, it was like calories in, calories out, and knowing nutrition and already having some athleticism to go along with that baseball, side of things. So it ended up being a good fit.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where after the 2 years, I had a couple good offers to continue playing, to play another 2 years. But it wasn't anything where I thought it was going to pan out to a major league contract or a minor league contract first, obviously. And so at that point, I was just like, I've been doing this for 21, 22 years of my life. Mm-hmm. The goal was not hit. No big deal. Like you just mentioned, I found that, if I can wake up every day and help people get healthier, get fit, continue to work out, get fit myself, and I could do that for a living. And because I saw that through what my coach was doing,
sure.
He was doing that for a living. And so I was like, man, if I can do that, that's like a good second other than playing a professional sport. Like I can wake up, put sweatpants on every day, go to the gym, get people healthy, and do a little working out myself. I'm down for that. So that's kind of how that started to form, that passion started to form a little bit.
It's funny because that just made me think that I've known you for several years now, and I don't think I've ever seen you I don't think I've ever seen you in jeans except for one time in a photo.
Yeah.
And I just mentioned it to you. You had just gone recently, I think with your wife to a concert or something. I think Cincinnati.
Yeah,
maybe,
we went to Luke Combs' concert and then to the Cincinnati Reds baseball game.
And I saw you guys had posted a photo. You guys had a great time, and I saw you in jeans. I was like, "What? Yeah. When did he become a cowboy?"
I do occasionally not wear sweatpants.
Right.
So,
but it's a good life, though, right?
Yeah. I love it. I mean, it's one of those things. So coming after junior college, I came back home because I decided not to play anymore, and I was like halfway done with my degree, right? And I was like, well, I don't know exactly what I want to do now, but I do know that personal training sounds cool, or strength and conditioning, if I can like get into that realm. And so I was at this kind of crossroads when I got home to like, where do I go to school and what do I for sure want to do? And I decided originally to go into physical therapy and, attempt to go into physical therapy. I enrolled at NIU and I was taking the prerequisite classes to apply then for the physical therapy program. Sure. And I just had realized while I was going there that I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to get through all the schooling. Just the schooling was just not going to be for me. A lot of the harder math and science classes, it wasn't going to be for me. And at this time, while I started going back to NIU, going to school to finish up my degree, I was living at home and I was like, well, I gotta get a job. I gotta do something. And I don't want to flip burgers. I don't want to do anything like that. So that's when I applied at Peak as a personal trainer, because I was like, well, I need to make some part-time money, and maybe I can work with some clients here and there while I'm going to school. And that kind of started to build my clientele and build my drive a little bit too. And so I ended up just switching to a business degree, and I just got a degree in business, a 4-year. And then as soon as I graduated, the PSX classes, or like our cross training CrossFit type classes, that's when that part of our building opened up. We built that out, and that's when Nick, my manager, came to me and was like, hey, I know you're finishing up school, but I have a full-time position opening here. Yeah, right. It's going to be 45, I think it was, classes a week, hour classes. Do you want, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I do, because it was either that or it's go sit behind a desk somewhere, because I had no idea what I was going to do at that point. No. And you're, you've already kind of give the lay of the land for you is you're not a cubicle guy. No. Yeah. But for those listening, or viewing, is that, the gym that you work for, I mean, it's, if you're not from this area, you probably don't care about, the name Peak. But if you're from this area, it's a stellar gym. Yeah. And then just the fact that you guys went along and, made the PSX side, the CrossFit, cross-training side of Peak, I'll just, no one asked me to, but I'm going to give a shout out to it, because it created for me even a great community. I actually ended up meeting a couple of my closest best friends that are that's how we met, was doing that kind of thing. And it was just different because, if you've ever been out there trying to figure out what workout is best for me, or how do I get healthy? How do I maintain? There's this perception that people have, I think, where they saw someone else do it. So then they're like, well, I'm just going to go do that. Yeah. Whereas if you step into, say, for the CrossFit cross-training side of PSX, you're confused from the day that you step in. You're just like, I have no idea what's going on here. So you just sort of like give yourself to it and say, just help me figure out what's going on. And that's what you guys do, is you just show people a whole different way. Yeah. And I mean, so when the PSX, which again is our version of CrossFit for Peak, when that opened up, 2016, I think it was, that was kind of around the time when CrossFit was getting more and more, I guess, consumed by the public. And it wasn't just, because before like CrossFit really came around, it was like you did bodybuilding, or you did like a Pilates yoga class, or you did college strength and conditioning.
So that's what you're saying. That's what came before the CrossFit movement.
I mean, from what I knew,
yeah.
I mean, that's all. I mean, like before CrossFit became bigger, it was literally just you were like a bodybuilder, or you did collegiate strength and conditioning athletic type workouts, or you did some type of like yoga.
But then it exploded.
Yeah. And so.
And what would you say, like what made it explode?
Well, I think what made CrossFit big to what it is today is it gave, whether it was past athletes or whether it didn't matter if you were a past athlete or if you were, a 65-year-old man or woman that's never picked up a weight in their life, you could still compete, right? And you could still get stronger in a way with a community around you. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is like you said, you met some of your closest friends at the gym. And I think it's just so simplified too, because it's like when you walk into a PSX or a CrossFit class, you know how long it's going to be. It's going to last 50 minutes to an hour. You're going to walk in. The coach is going to tell you exactly what to do. The coach is going to tell you to warm up. Yep. You're going to warm up as a group. The coach is going to tell you what you're doing for your workout. You're going to do your workout. The coach is going to tell you to stretch and cool down after, and then you get to go. Yeah. Right? There's no thought process for the client. And I think...
And there's no waste of time.
And there's no waste of time. And that's what people need, right? If you want to look at the fittest people at your gym, they're probably CrossFit type athletes. And that's because I think I want to say, in my opinion, it's because they can stick to something and be disciplined to something because they don't really have to think about it. Yeah. They just have to come in and do what they're told. And when you come in and when you do what you're told over and over again for an entire year, you're going to see results. Mm-hmm. I think so many people fall off the wagon at the gym or just, are on this hamster wheel of making a little progress and then not, and wasting a little progress and then making a little progress and then not. And that's because there's just a lack of discipline. They don't know what to do. They maybe know what to do for a few weeks, but then it's kind of like, well, now what do I do?
That's a big reason of having you on the show today is I want to dive into that. I want to get there. So I wanted to, kind of just get a sort of an understanding of, where did you come from in the sense of physical fitness and what got you into it. Great background on that. Traveling, as you began, you probably were a very, very good baseball player. Yeah.
I played on a Chicago travel team. We were the Upper Deck Cougars, and there was probably, I don't know, there was a handful of guys, probably 5 to 6 that got drafted. There's one kid right now that's still in the big leagues. He pitches for the Cincinnati Reds. And so I had the experience of playing with
you were very close to it.
Of really, really good players. Yeah. My lacking was, again, I didn't really have a position. I just kind of played wherever, and I hit really well, but I never hit for power. So, it was just kind of like, there's never really a spot for me. But I played with tons of really good guys, and it was really cool, and it was really fun, really fun opportunity.
But, and that's what I think was good for the transition was to talk about where this led you down that path of knowing you were going to be passionate about physical fitness and helping other people on their journey. I think that's going to probably be a big part of our conversation here is that I am always, amazed. And even, there's an age difference here between you and I to a little bit degree, but I've thought about this as we were getting, closer and closer to our time together. And I thought, we spend trillions of dollars in this country. Yeah. Why are we not healthier? And that's a big apple to chew, bite right there.
We spend way too much money on a lot of things other than healthcare. But I think when it comes down to it, you can spend as much money on it as you want. But if you're not disciplined as a person and you don't want it yourself, then there's going to be no results. No results are going to happen. I can't tell you how many times I have sat down in a consultation and it's... whether it's a husband or a wife, and it's a wife saying, I want to buy training for my husband, or it's a husband saying, I want to buy training for my wife, or whatever it is. And it's like, I'll tell them straight up at the beginning, hey, this isn't going to work unless that person is here and that person is wanting to do it. Right. You have to be invested. You have to want it, and you have to have the discipline to show up every day. So again, you can throw as much money at it as you want. I have plenty of clients that have lots and lots of money and they could pay for training all the time. But if they don't show up to their sessions, then,
and me kind of doing that, deep dive off the top deck about what we spend on, health. And I do understand. I'm not, that trillions is part of the healthcare costs.
Sure.
But if you carve out, if you carve out the slice of the pie, that represents what people are spending.
Yeah.
And not just, they're spending it on gym memberships, they're spending it on buying, equipment at home.
Sure.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they maybe have a life coach, a nutrition coach, or they're shopping and buying certain foods and only, it's like there's so much emphasis on if you do these things, then it'll work.
Right.
But then time and time again, it doesn't work. People, and where do you see that? Where do you see people stumbling the most, I guess?
Yeah, I think, it's like you could have the gym membership, but, Peak has, for example, the gym that we're talking about that we go to, we have 10,000 members at our location, roughly.
Wow, 10,000.
Right. Think about how many people don't use the gym.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we average between like 60 and 80,000 check-ins per month. But if you're going to the gym every day of the month, that's 30 check-ins for Will. I go to the gym every day, 30 check-ins for Phil. So we have between 60 and 80,000 check-ins per month at the front desk.
Right.
But a lot of those are just the repeat, same maybe couple thousand people that come every single day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not like every
it makes me think of
that's 10,000 is coming in,
It makes me think of this comedian and it's not my joke. It's just it's such a great little stand-up bit where he says he's like, I don't get these people. They keep showing back up and they look fit as a fiddle. Like you're done. You don't need to keep coming back here. You're good. You're done. You know,
you got it.
And
you
yet,
made it. But I mean, that's the tale of, it's not, I mean, you got plenty of people, whether it's bodybuilders, whoever, that might look aesthetically awesome, but they could do a blood panel and they could be extremely unhealthy. Right. So it's not always, it's not always about the way you look.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of bodybuilders are, no, I have nothing against bodybuilding. I mean, I'm just saying a lot of bodybuilders are unhealthy because it's not always the healthiest thing to that yo-yo diet, gain a bunch of weight in the off season and then cut down a bunch of weight, 20, 30 pounds in the, show season. It's just, it's hard on your body.
Well, let's do a little compare, and if you don't, if you know, if you don't, but if someone is, hardcore bodybuilding, what's the typical lifespan of somebody in that arena, that's doing that versus say, and just to have the comparison for the conversation, like say someone that's a high-end CrossFitter, like because people are going to argue, if they listen to this, they're going to say, well, there's a lot of danger, there's a lot of issues with CrossFit.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would totally
So,
agree with that.
what am I choosing here?
Yeah, I'm not saying CrossFit is better than bodybuilding is better than CrossFit, one or the other. I was just saying based on, we got on the rant of looking good in the gym, right? And then that led me to, well, not all the time. Just because you look good doesn't mean you're not necessarily healthy. I'm sure there could be some. Yeah. I think, in my personal opinion, the CrossFit Games themselves, the CrossFit Games and the CrossFit community are two different things.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
The CrossFit community is much different than the games. The people, the small percentage of people that compete and dedicate their entire life to making it and winning the CrossFit Games.
The big leagues of CrossFit.
Correct. Yeah. Like the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, right.
CrossFit. That's what we'll call the games.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's out of hand. I think it's just, I think the workouts that they're making making the athletes do. And I think at the end of the day, I think personally, being in this profession, too much exercise is just as bad as too little exercise. So I think there's, at some point,
the word, I think you were going to say what, moderation?
Yeah.
I knew moderation was going to come up.
Yeah. I think everything needs to be done in moderation. So
I do this in moderation.
Yeah.
except for on certain times.
Yeah, I don't do this.
I know.
I'm doing this for you.
I'm doing
this for you.
I'm shocked. That's what I'm actually right now.
I'm making up. But
this is Phil.
But no, I think your question was, the lifespan of a bodybuilder compared to a CrossFit athlete.
Well, I was just curious, like if you had any kind of an awareness or an idea of like, if you're going all in, you're, sleeping and eating and just, this is all you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's bodybuilding or whether it's the majors of CrossFit. Yeah. How long do these people stay in those environments?
I would say most make it, I don't know, until their mid 30s.
Yeah.
You have like the CrossFit has masters and bodybuilding has masters, but I got to believe that if it depends on when you start would almost be my opinion. Like if I start competitive CrossFit when I'm 14, the chances of me doing competitive CrossFit when I'm 55 is probably not very likely. At some point, you're going to burn out. I mean, look at any professional athlete.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're going to make it maybe till their late 30s.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be, because it's a grind. I mean, you're living, breathing on the road, you're sacrificing family situations and all those different things. I mean, so, I mean, I would say for any type of competitive sport, you're looking at probably the mid 30s.
So how about if we just, maybe get down to like the people that are just, they're average Joe and Jane, and then also obviously, because this is part of our show is that we would like to also have maybe a little of an idea of like, you see a lot of first responders come through.
Yeah.
Right. And I would probably say, and because again, I've been a part of the CrossFit community as well, is that it's probably the most functional type of exercise, for those who are in first, the fire service community or the police officers. And
yeah, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, we've had a lot of, whether it's firefighters or police officers or still do, come through PSX or our CrossFit type classes. And just like you just said, I mean, your guys' jobs are very functional when it comes down to it. You got to be able to move, you got to be able to run, you got to be able to chase, you got to be able to pull, drag.
This episode of the Original Firefighter Podcast is sponsored by Castle Contracting. Castle Contracting offers commercial and residential restoration, leading the industry in roofing, residential siding, gutters and downspouts, egress window installation, storm damage assessment and repair, and solar energy, saving you money and time. If you want to be treated like royalty, contact Castle Contracting to schedule a free inspection. Call them at 877-512-4207 or go online and visit castleexteriors.net. That's 877-512-4207 or go online and visit castleexteriors.net. Serving Illinois, Wisconsin, and Kentucky, Castle Contracting has you covered. Your home is your castle. Call Castle Contracting today.
Do all these things in your job, carry an axe, swing an axe, whatever it is, carry a heavy fire hose, drag a body,
right?
Whatever it is, save somebody, police officers got to run people down, whatever it is, you have to be fit and functional. And so sitting on a machine at the gym doing bicep curls,
right?
Yeah, that's great. It's going to give you strong arms, but is it going to help you in those situations specifically?
Right.
Maybe, probably not as much as doing things like pulling, dragging, running, swinging, doing all of those things that closely imitate what you're going to be doing out in the field or out in your job. And I think that's one good thing that CrossFit or PSX does is, or even the way I like to train my clients is very functional, college strength and conditioning, CrossFit type workouts where that's one thing I try to do as a personal trainer is, again, no matter if it is a mom that wants to be able to be strong for her kids and play with them and, just
have the energy for the day,
have the energy or whatever it is, go to work and then, whatever, if you're a parent or whether it is a firefighter or a police officer, you can tailor the workouts so that you can get better or feel better during your time at the gym. And I think that's what really helps with training or functional type training.
I think something that's interesting that you do is I some days I'll come in and say, hey, I want to, today's going to be chest day.
Sure.
Tomorrow's leg day. And you know the routine, right? It's today is chest and tomorrow's bis and tris and the next day is legs and da-da-da-da. And then it's interesting to work out with you and what you do is you say, well, today's going to be more like a push day.
Right.
Then tomorrow, the next day is going to be a pull day.
Yeah.
Legs are legs.
Right. Yeah. Legs are.
I've learned that with you.
Yeah.
It's like legs.
That's not going to change.
Legs, you're gonna hate your life.
Legs. Yeah. You're going to work out your legs and you're going to suffer
You're going to hate your life.
Yeah. You're going to mentally get stronger because I'm going to physically make you suffer.
I have had a couple of fuck you, Phil.
Yeah.
You suck.
That's okay. And then when I get those, that means I know I'm doing my job.
Right.
That means I know you're going to come back secretly.
But I do. I like that. And it's so funny because again, again to our listeners and viewers, some of the benefit of talking to someone like you is to say, here's how you can make things a little easier on yourself.
Right.
Because again, I come from a time where it was I remember going in and there would be rack cards or some kind of a workout sheet. Mm-hmm. And you kind of had your, and you it was you were keeping track of every little thing you were doing where it was okay, today I did 4 sets of chest, 10 reps. Yeah. Check the box, move to the next thing.
Right.
And I guess I'm kind of seeing sort of a morphine of keep this simple.
Yeah.
Push with this, you're going to pull this, you're going to.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like you said, if I have a client that comes to me and is like, I want to work on my chest, I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you want to work on your chest? And they'll be like, well, I want a bigger chest. Okay. It's fine. That works. Aesthetically, you want to have a bigger chest. No big deal. But then it's well, why else? Well, I want my upper body to be stronger because I want to, whatever it is. Right. And so, at the end of the day, I try to encourage my clients as much as possible while still aiming towards their goals. Like you were saying, if you have a specific goal to hit a certain weight on a certain lift, maybe you want to deadlift X amount or squat X amount or bench X amount. That's all that is great. But we're also around that going to make sure we're getting all your other functional exercises in so that we want to improve your health and we want to improve your daily activities just as much as we're going for just the performance goals of, hey, I want to be able to do this, or I want to be able to run a 5K in under 30 minutes or whatever the situation is. That is all great. I want to be able to hit those goals with you guys. But then I also want you to be able to wake up every morning and be like, man, I feel good. I'm not tired. Or let's say I have an elderly client. I want them to be able to take the laundry basket up and down the stairs without using the railing.
Yeah.
That's a huge goal with elderly clients is being able to just do certain things like that. Stand up without your knees hurting. Right. And those are all things that we can do. And that's kind of how I try to train.
Yeah. I think there's also this certain percentage of people that I imagine them coming in to the gym and finding someone like you and then saying, I don't know what I want. I just want better than what I'm doing. You ever get, I guess I think, again, it's we have so much emphasis in our society that if you do these things, you're going to be healthy. And yet at the same time, how do we have so many people that are confused about how to get healthy?
Well, everything's very confusing right now in society in terms of
why
health and fitness. Well, why we're doing certain things, but also you can take one scroll through Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and you can see, fruit is good for you, and then keep scrolling for 10 more minutes. Fruit is bad for you. Right. And so it's to somebody that has no knowledge.
That's what I'm driving at. It's making all of us crazy.
It's very, very confusing. And so at the end of the day,
do you look, sorry, go ahead, keep going.
No, I was just going to say at the end of the day, everyone is a little bit different. right? So you have to figure out what works for you, and you have to seek out that maybe initial professional help, whether that's a trainer, whether that's a dietitian, whether that's a whatever. Find somebody that you like, and then trust what they say, commit to it, and see if it works. I mean, it really is trial and error. And that's what I tell, you worked with me with nutrition a little bit. And again, I am not a registered dietitian in any way. I just have experience with losing weight, building muscle with myself, with other clients. And so I relay the knowledge or the experience that I have had. But when it comes down to it, you know, it's pretty simple. It's calories in versus calories out. And it's, you know, if you want to put on muscle, make sure you eat enough protein. And, you know, if you want to lose body fat, don't eat too much. Right. And don't drink a whole lot of alcohol, and make sure you get enough activity in. And so the basics of losing weight or gaining muscle or whatever it is, it's a simple process. It's just not an easy process. So
it's almost like the easiest thing you could write out on a whiteboard. But then you say, okay, I've written it down for you. Here it is.
Right. Don't eat too much and move more.
Right.
If you want to lose weight.
And then it's like, okay, now go do that.
Yeah, and I think
that's the, you know, and then I think what I'm trying to really get down to is that there are so many stumbling blocks.
Yeah.
You know, and we put it in front of ourselves. I mean, you know, I make a choice. I say, hey, I enjoy bourbon.
Sure.
So I'm going to have some bourbon.
Yeah.
You know, and when I work out with you, I'm like, hey, I'm still going to drink bourbon.
Right. Yeah. And
but I also want to give up where I can give up things. And I do it because I'm like, I still want to think that I've, one of the greatest part about retirement was to say I was able to get through the 33-year fire service career, and I still have my fingers and toes and I walk upright.
Right.
So now I want to go and, you know, climb a mountain or do all the other things that, you know, make you want to, you know, live life beyond retirement. But I just see also people are inundated with confusing things that make them stumble and, you know, just challenge their commitments.
Yeah, I think there's too much information. There's too much information, or they seek a professional that makes them do too much right away. And I think, again, the process is simple. You just have to repeat it over and over and over and over again.
You're never done.
For a long period of time. Yeah. And then,
what do you mean by long period? I want to, because I think I know what you mean, but I want to hear what, you know, I don't think people know what that really means.
Yeah. So,
because I think people are like, I want to lose 5 pounds.
Right.
And I want to do it before I have a wedding coming up in like 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, you hear that as a lot, I'll hear that as a lot as a trainer, as it's like, you know, sit down with somebody in a consultation and it's like, you know, so why are you here? You know, what brought you in? Why are you motivated to get a trainer or whatever the situation is? And you get sometimes some goals that are unrealistic. Like you said, you know, I have a wedding in a month and I need to lose 12 pounds.
Right.
Well, I could probably help you do that, but it's going to be a little unhealthy to lose 12 pounds in a month. And then even if you did do it, you're probably not going to keep it off.
No.
Right. So,
and you're going to be absolutely miserable.
Yeah. And you're going to be miserable while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be crabby at your wedding and it's not going to be good. So I think your question of what's a long time.
No happy ending there.
Yeah. What's a long time? It's one of those things where I try to encourage my clients to just stop focusing on the end goal, whether it's losing the 10 pounds, whether it's doing the 300-pound squat, or whether it's shooting a lower score in golf or whatever, and just fall in love with the process of training, with waking up every day and just committing to, this is what is going to be the highlight of my day. It's going to be making myself healthier and more fit. Not only because I'm going to look better, but I'm going to live longer. I'm going to be a better person for my family, for my significant other, or whatever. There's no one that...
And it's your mental health too.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like your personal mental health.
Most of the time when you're physically healthy, you're going to be, you know, there's always outliers, but you'll probably be mentally a little healthier if you're physically getting into the gym. And, you know, you don't have time. Some people work super stressful jobs, right? And then when they come to me and they're with me for an hour, that is their hour of the day to like, they can't focus on anything else when I have them out of breath and they can't, they're barely just trying to get through the last rep of what they're doing. They're not thinking about what they have to go back to at work or what they just came from work. It's a really good time to just de-stress, detox. And, to think that there are some people out there that don't experience that every day or weekly, like they don't experience that feeling of like not having to worry. Like not having to worry about work, not having to worry about family, just for 60 minutes, just being able to work out.
But here's where I just want to push a little bit on this. And okay,
challenge me.
What it is I believe everything. I'm personally, I'm in tune with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this is just how we're now wired as a society, is that we can't even get into a place where you're supposed to shut everything off. You just described, you've worked intense jobs, maybe you're working 2, maybe 3 jobs. You're stressed at home, you're all these things. And so you think like, okay, well, so the gym or whatever your gym is, because let's be fair, that gym doesn't have to always be a
it could be a 4-corner
building. It can be
closet, like whatever you got.
Yeah.
Whatever
the bike path can be your gym.
It could be whatever.
And yet, and here's the common denominator, from my opinion, from my perspective, that frickin' phone.
Oh yeah.
It never goes away. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I catch myself doing it.
Yeah.
But I'll do a set, you rock out 15 bicep curls.
Yeah.
And you put them down and then you check your phone right away.
Right.
So I guess I think that's part of some of that stumbling that we keep doing to ourselves. We just don't ever let go of certain things that are actually giving us more health concern than it is actually health benefit. And I'm bringing up the phone, but I'm also suggesting that you're just never shutting yourself down and just saying, I just need to be healthy.
Yeah.
And healthy looks, it looks different than when I see the gym goers and I go, why are we all on our phones?
Right.
Why are we all on our frickin' phones?
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like social media and society has programmed us to be, all super ADD. And it's like we're so fast to like get one piece of information or one piece of marketing or one piece of whatever it is. And then it's like, I need the next thing. And then I need the next thing. And then I need the next thing. And that's kind of like what the scrolling, it's just like, I need more. Right. And so I think that's, if we want to come back to like CrossFit or functional training or strength and conditioning, like I think that's what is so, how many times would you go into a group training class and during class for the 50 minutes, you don't have people on their phones?
No.
I mean, you might occasionally have someone go over and check their phone.
No, the
thing, but like you don't like. That's another benefit, as like even out of respect for the coach, you're not going to be sitting there texting during the workout.
No,
you come, you work out, you shut off, whether it's individual training or whether it's group training, and that's why I think it is so important for. Everyone. I don't care if you're the fittest person on earth or if you've never touched a weight or exercised in your entire life.
Sure.
You should get some type of coaching from a good trainer or coach on like how to work out properly. Because then you will realize like, oh, I'm probably not going to get the results I want.
You're not going to get the benefits that you want by doing here. Again, it goes back to, I did a set. I sat the weights down. I checked my phone. All right. I forgot how much time has gone by. I was supposed to only maybe rest for maybe 35, 40 seconds, but 2 minutes has gone by. You're not really getting into the deep of this workout. And I think you cracked the code here a little bit. Maybe this is just well known, but I point out how we're tethered to the device. Yeah. We're tethered to the technology. And yet what you're describing is, if you do get yourself into group exercise, if you do get yourself into a personal trainer, and I was just going to add also to that, like if you get into, say, pickleball, which is the craze,
sure,
but tomorrow it'll be tennis again, it
could be whatever,
or it'll be badminton or whatever, But if you're doing those things, you ain't got the time to go check on your phone,
right?
Because you are actually committed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's again, people get bored, they have short attention spans, and they, but at the end of the day, they don't really know what it feels like to maybe do a good workout or to experience, like you're saying, a group training class or a workout ran by a good trainer or whatever it might be. I mean, the phone thing within itself is just, and that's a separate topic. You got to try to solve.
It was low hanging fruit. I admit it, but
no, but I agree. I mean, the amount of people that are on their phones or the amount of people that are just in the gym, just walking around talking. I mean, I guess rather have them there than outside the gym doing something else. I mean, they made the first step of getting there, which is fine. It's good.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think, getting into the training side of things is a whole different story. But yeah, I mean, how many people just sit at home with their family and look on their phones all day? I mean, that's
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are right. It's something we can just. Good Lord, imagine the study.
It could be a 2-hour conversation.
Oh man, I always think of like what studies will be done to analyze our society, say, on 200 years from now.
Yeah,
they look back at our time here and what has happened, and I'm as aware as everyone else is that I think that there was a day when there's good intent, but the unintended consequences are. We're making ourselves unhealthy.
Yeah.
We're not actually checking in with ourselves or even checking in with loved ones and getting assurance that our mental health and wellness is actually as good as we think it is. We think we're fine.
Sure.
I'm fine. I wake up every day. Yeah, at least I woke up. I'm fine. I got some aches and pains and whatnot. But it's like if you actually got into a physical regimen, if you got into some mental discipline, where would you be? They always say, if you did those things for a year, what would you look like? If you said, here I am at today, and I'll check in 365 from now.
Yeah.
You'll see a difference.
Yeah. I mean, again, the mental health topic too. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, whether it was something that developed over time or whether it's something that you're born with or whatever it is, that's always been a tough one for me to I guess dive into or understand, just because I've always been a very disciplined person, and I'm just like, well, this is what I got to do to be fit, so this is what I'm going to do every single day, right? And so I just feel, and maybe it's one of those situations. There was I forget what the guy's name was, but he was a trainer. He was like a social media type trainer, but he started this thing called Fit to Fat to Fit. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but he was essentially a personal trainer. He had never been fat before.
Sure.
Never been out of shape. And so one of his clients challenged him because he was pretty hard on his clients, when they weren't disciplined. And one of his clients was saying, well, you don't know what it feels like. You don't know what it feels like to be fat. You don't know what it feels like to be depressed. You don't know what it feels like to hate what you see in the mirror. So he challenged that client, and he's like, I'm going to take a year to get as fat as I can. He didn't work out. He ate crap. He drank crap, and he got fat. And then he ended up losing the weight and getting fit again, getting, shredded, eating out, doing whatever. But he said it was he's like, I don't suggest, again, people do that. He was like, I would never suggest. He's like, I felt the worst I have ever felt in my entire life. And I finally was able to, it made me a better trainer, because he said I was finally able to realize, when you're physically out of shape, you are mentally depressed and you don't want to go to the gym. And it's hard to get off the couch, and it's hard to eat healthy, and your body is just programmed to just start craving and doing all these things. So he ended up getting fit again. He did a couple of rounds of that. And I think at the end of the day, it just helped him become a better trainer, because he was able to kind of, whether it was from a sales standpoint, be like, hey, I've been where you are, or whether it was just from the simple, understanding. And
but he did it. At the end of the day, you go and you say, whatever his gain was.
Yeah. I think so many people, to get back to question you asked way back in terms of we spend so much money on health, fitness, healthcare, whatever.
Yeah.
And why are so many people not fit and out of shape and fat in America? And I think it's because, in a roundabout way, it's one, they've never experienced what it feels like to be healthy and be fit. And so they've just accepted this as the norm.
Yeah.
Like I accept it. Like I don't know. Like they don't know what it feels like to feel good. Just like I don't know what it feels like to be 50 pounds overweight.
Right.
I don't want to get there, but
and like I can tell when I can tell if I've put on, say 5-8 pounds and I'm already like, I don't like this.
Yeah. I can't think like that. Just like that person, like I feel like if people had a taste of what it feels like to be fit, they're like, I'm never going back. But getting there takes so much discipline and it takes time.
Yeah.
And you don't see your results fast. And we're talking about this fast-paced society and like how we need information now. And it's always like, where's my phone? What do I do? What's next? What's next? And like when you don't see results within a week.
Sure.
If I have a client that has a weight loss goal of 10 pounds and they don't see a single pound drop in a week, they're discouraged. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't trust the fact that I'm like, hey, you're doing great. You're making some changes. This stuff takes some time. And that's kind of where I came back when I said, fall in love with the process. Like you have, like I think I have established myself as a better trainer in the area and being able to hold on to clients for an extended period of time. Because like I said, I try to teach my clients how to like just learn to enjoy working out. And I've gotten to a point where I can get most of my clients, they'll see me 1 to 2 times a week, but then they're in the gym on their own the other times of the week.
It makes me think of what you're saying. And again, I mean, we can go in so many directions with this entire conversation.
Sure.
Like you say, we could probably talk about this for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Netflix documentary Arnold?
I watched a couple episodes. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
well, there's only 3 episodes.
Okay, maybe I watched it all. Yeah.
Okay, there's only 3 episodes. The first one, so it's basically Arnold the athlete, then it's Arnold the actor, and then Arnold the politician.
I think I watched the first.
The governor.
Yeah, I'm not much into politics.
No,
I left that one.
Okay, that's fine. It actually is the whole thing I thought was very well done.
Sure.
And again, so many people want to be Arnold.
Yeah. Well,
and it's just not in the cards because it's not. First of all, you don't have his DNA.
Yeah, you don't have
and
genetics.
and then again, people will be like, well, he was probably using this, and it's like, okay, I get it.
Sure.
But you can't deny that person and those like him, they are specimens. Like they have a gene that we just don't have. I don't have.
Yeah, whether you take steroids or not, you still have to put in the work.
Yeah, but one thing that I took from the first episode, which was the athlete of him. And he would talk about how he couldn't understand going into a gym and seeing people just be miserable.
Yeah.
Like he could just see it on their face. Like they didn't look happy. There was no energy. It was just, they were like just sad to be there.
Yeah.
And I see that too.
Yeah.
And I can't say that every single time I walk into the gym that I'm just, there to do cartwheels and handstands.
Sure.
But I took that and I registered that where it was like, yeah, why go into anything, even if if you're saying today or tomorrow, I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna do this. Whatever that is, or if it's gonna be a gym membership, whatever it's gonna be, okay. But don't be sad about it because you will not stick with it.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to the discipline and just coming back with you. My job as a trainer is to encourage and get the client to do what I want them to do, which is most likely what's going to make them most successful in terms of their goals, but also get them to do things or allow them to do things that they enjoy to keep them coming into the gym.
Yeah.
Right? So
give them room to grow.
Let's come back to, maybe you have a goal of bench pressing 250 pounds. Right.
Yeah.
And if that's your goal and you're like, Phil, I just want to work on my chest.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. I'm going to hear that. I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to receive that. I'm going to work on that with you. But I'm also, whether you know about it or not, going to be working on other things that I think you need to be working on to not only hit your goal, but to make you stronger and make you a better, more fit person in the gym. And that's where it comes down to I'll have clients that say, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds, whatever the situation is. And when they start complaining about man, I just haven't lost weight, or this is getting really discouraging, or whatever it is. And I'll be like, well, do you feel like your clothes fit better? Well, yeah, maybe. Do you feel like you're less tired throughout the day? Yeah, maybe. Do you feel like you're eating a little bit better? Yeah, maybe. So you try to like direct them and like, yes, maybe not physically, we're not seeing the weight come off yet, but look at where this is benefiting the other areas of your life.
Or right? it goes, I can imagine you asking the other question, which is, well, if you're saying that things aren't going the way you thought they would go, I can imagine you asking, well, so what's your diet like?
Right.
Because it's one thing to put the time in, and we haven't even touched on that. And I think that's probably one of the things that I want to dive into here is I want to ask you, what, in your opinion, just give us, one or two, like what are some of the top health misconceptions that people they need to understand on their journey, whether that journey is, we talked about someone that wants to lose 5 to 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. Let's say somebody just needs to change their life completely. But what are those top 1, 2, 3 misconceptions about getting healthy and working out? What are the misconceptions that come to mind?
I would say that number one is probably, I don't know if this is like a misconception, but I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they do too much too soon.
Okay.
So like, for example, you have someone starting with little to no experience and they're like, they go full bore and they do 6 to 7 days of working out because they followed some app or bought some program online. And they're like, I'm doing this because I'm committed now. And they're counting calories or counting points or doing macros or doing whatever. And it's just so much information. It's so difficult to do all of that right away when you haven't been doing any of that before that it's just too hard to do. So too much at once, I think, would be one reason why people fail at getting fit or getting healthier. I think the way you need to approach it is, if you're going from nothing, start with 1 day a week.
Like legit, just 1 day.
Walk for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
If you're going from nothing, if you're going from waking up, going to work, coming home, eating, going to bed.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you start with just doing all that, but maybe do 1 day a week of walking for 20 to 30 minutes and see how you feel. And once you can do that routinely, add in a second day. And then once routinely, you can do 2 to 3 days a week of 20 to 30 minutes of cardio. Well, let's add in 1 day of weights. And so again, when I said this process takes time, it's a long time. It takes time just to find what routine works for you, whether that's, I got to work out before work, I got to work out after work, I'm going to work out on my lunch break. Right. You got to find your routine, and you got to build this routine and build these healthy habits slowly. And again, it's a process. I didn't do this originally as a trainer, but I will have clients come to me and they'll say they won't be working out at all. I'll meet them in the initial consultation. They'll be like, I want to work out 4 days a week. And I'll be like,
they just know that
that's what they want to do. I'll
be
like, you're going to start with 1. You're going to start with 1 day a week. I'll say, I don't think you can handle 4 days a week yet. I don't think I'm going to put you in the best position as a trainer to create a lifestyle out of this and really make it to your goal if I allow you to jump right at 4 days a week right away. Again, this is somebody coming from absolutely nothing, no experience. I say,
that's the benefit of the viewers and listeners. I mean, whether they are in the fire service, whether they're firefighters, whether they're first responders, or whether it's just people just tuning in to hear what we have to say in the show. Yeah. I want there to be this feeling of like, what would this matter to me? And some people out there, like, they have no idea where to start.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the majority of the clients that I work with. I mean, you're not going to get, I think that's the misconception most trainers have, is like when you meet with a trainer, or when my manager has met with trainers, they get a new trainer coming in. They're like, oh, so who do you want to work with? Oh, I want to work with athletes. everyone wants to work with athletes, right? Because all you got to say is go do this, this, and this, and go drink your coffee in the corner.
Yeah, I'm an athletic trainer.
Yeah, you're like everyone wants to work with athletes are the fittest people in the world, but like that's not necessarily realistic. The people that need help are the people that have no idea what they're doing, right? And so the people that have no idea what they're doing need to start slow. So it's
and do you get that out? Do you get personal satisfaction, happiness by seeing, those the first starters, the people that are coming in and they're like, those
are my favorite people to work with now as a trainer after doing this for 11 years are people that are broken in the sense that like just came off a shoulder surgery, just came off a hip replacement, just tore their MCL or whatever, right? And they need help rehabbing it after maybe physical therapy. They need help getting stronger again. They need help getting back to whatever. Or maybe it's just someone that has never picked up a weight in their life, never done any type of exercise, and just needs to know where to start. There's so many of those people that try to start and they have such a bad experience, either their first time with a trainer or their first time in the gym. Maybe they couldn't afford a trainer, so they just went to go try to do it by themselves. And it's like, I wish I could help every person that has never started or is super overweight or is super weak and frail and just needed that initial consultation to be like, hey, this is all you have to do. It's a lot simpler than you think. Start with 1 day.
Yeah.
And then in 3 weeks, go to 2 days. And then in 3 weeks, go to 3 days. Right. And if they could just start like that, they're going to feel so much better. They go way too hard, way too soon. They wake up broken.
Do I hear an average Phil's gym in the future?
Oh,
like
maybe,
an average Joe's?
Maybe someday way down the road. But
like the gym from Dodgeball?
That'd be cool.
Average Joe's.
I don't know. That would be interesting.
Show up 1 day, show up 2 days. Don't show up at all.
Don't show up at all. Well, I wouldn't want them to not show up at all. But it's a good movie. I haven't seen that movie in a while. It is good. But yeah, I think people stop or they quit or they give up or they get discouraged or they stop pursuing their goal because they do too much too soon. So that's the first misconception or the one I think, for fitness. And then I think like a second one would be like just all the misconceptions when it comes to diet, because there's so much out there. And I don't know everything about being vegan or the carnivore diet or Weight Watchers or whatever.
And you've already stated, you're not a dietitian.
Yeah, I've always done what works for me. And I tell people anytime I work with people with nutrition, I just say, we got to figure out what works for you. What foods do you like? What foods will you eat every day? Because if I write you the perfect meal plan, but it has cottage cheese in it. Yeah. And Will's like, ugh, I don't like cottage cheese. That meal plan's not good for you. Right? We need something else for Will
But it can't just be Snickers.
Right. It can't just be Snickers.
Damn it.
So it's one of those things where it's like you just have to find out what works for you. And at the end of the day, it is calories in versus calories out. So you got to move a little bit more.
What about the whole thing about that not all calories are made equally? So what, because I think, again, that is what it starts to confuse people. Because I knew we'd get there. I knew we would get there about diet. Mm-hmm. And one thing, just to touch on from my perspective is that for firefighters especially, our diet sucks.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you that from the day that I started, I'm talking about 1996 when I walked into the first firehouse in Rockford, Illinois.
I was 3 years old. Just want to point that out.
Oh boy.
Keep going.
No, but what I can say is that I recall at the dinner table for 2 meals, we ate lunch, we ate dinner, we ate 11:30, 5. That was always the plan.
Sure.
If we weren't getting interrupted by calls, but there was at the time in 1996. So here's my point. So is that I can recall that at every setting, whether it was lunch or dinner, there were 2 gallons of milk and 2 full loaves of bread on that kitchen table, one for each end of the table.
Right.
And there was 2% milk, and there was butter, and there was 2 loaves of bread, and that was served at each, lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
And when I retired here in July of this year, I look at the dinner table and it is completely different. Really? It is truly completely different. There is no milk. There is no, in fact, don't even bring, as far as I'm concerned, don't even bring bread into the firehouse. Don't even bring it, because if you buy it, no one's going to eat it.
Who establishes, like, who is it?
Yeah.
Just the firefighters in general that bring in the food, or like who is controlling that? Like,
you know, I mean, again, I can only speak for what was done with my department.
Sure.
Some departments do things a little differently. We would kind of do the rotating cook.
Yeah.
And so if you were the cook of the day, then you had the menu, and it was your decision. This is what you were going to make for both meals.
Sure.
Whether the guys liked it or not, tough shit, pay your money, and, you know, eat it or don't eat it, but this is what you're getting.
Sure.
But what I can attest to is that it has changed, and it needed to change, because I'll give you an example is that, so the National Fire Protection Association, their 2022-2023 study was showing that there was, of line of duty deaths, 36% of them, actual on the job line of duty deaths, 36% of those deaths were because of heart disease.
Oh, wow.
For firefighters. And that was 2022 and this is 2024.
Yeah.
So yes, I can say that the menu's changed. You know, the table looks different.
Yeah.
There's not the 2% milk and the bread and all that stuff, like I just said.
Sure.
So the menu's changed. I think that the healthy cooking has kicked in, and firehouses are doing what they can do with the menu. But yet at the same time, but how do you account for the fact that there is, what did I just say, 36% of that study showed 36% of them were firefighter fatalities by heart disease.
Well, they're only at the firehouse for so many days a week too. So even if the food got better at the firehouse, doesn't mean that that's what they're eating. Outside the firehouse.
Yep.
So that's the other thing.
So that would, and I appreciate you bringing that up, and I can go into other, you know, situations or reasons that heart disease does exist. There's a lot of stress on the heart, you know, just from the job itself. But specifically about diet and intake and outtake, or intake and output, I should say, is what would you say to firefighters, first responders, you know, police officers who are working a 12-hour shift? What can they do, you know, for their diet? What's the best approach, or a few, I guess, examples or tips you would say?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's tough when you're at the mercy of someone else. Yeah. And I think I want to answer your question, and I'll get there, but it brings me the thought up of, like, kids, right? Like, you see a lot of overweight kids these days.
Yeah.
But
for sure,
those kids are at the mercy of their parents. And most likely, if you have an overweight kid, you probably have some overweight parents. So I think it's this chain of, like, the kid's not going to go to the grocery store by himself and make his own lunch and do whatever. So it's at the responsibility of the kid. The responsibility of the parents to make sure the kid's eating a healthy, well-balanced diet. I mean, when it comes to the firehouse, I guess I don't know how frowned upon it is or is not, to where, you know, you bring your own meal, and if for some reason the meal that night or afternoon or whatever isn't very healthy or doesn't align with your goals, maybe you just eat your own meal that day.
Yeah.
So I think I
think that is starting to kind of it's getting in there a little bit. It's starting to happen. I will say, I'll profess on the show that I personally would discourage. What I discourage is having the meal as part of the community of being in the firehouse. So eating together. Right. But I also say, you know, like, if you find that if you eat a certain way and you're trying to maintain a diet, you know, you can eat those same meals with those, you know, firefighters, with your coworkers and your you know,
still be around the table,
hang out, doing somewhat of your own thing. Yeah. Would you suggest going more for, you know, whatever the protein. I mean, because again, this goes back to what I said is that you really do break things down pretty simple, which is go for the protein, skip the, go for the protein and the veggies, skip the carb. I don't know. What would you say?
I think for, again, if I'm giving general nutrition
for sure.
advice to anyone, whether it's a firefighter, whether it's a client at the gym, I think first and foremost, I will say getting protein in allows your body to be more satiated or just full in general. So it helps not crave or pick at or overeat throughout the day. So maybe like one example would be if I have a client that likes to overeat or snack, okay, and that's what's leading them to be overweight. I'd say, hey, try to eat somewhere between 30 and 50 grams of protein before, let's say, 10 a.m. Ideally, you want to get that through whole food. So maybe that's eggs and some Greek yogurt. Maybe that's eggs and a little bit of ground beef. Maybe that's a protein shake.
Are eggs good are they good? Is that okay for us to eat?
I'm not a dietitian.
I'm so tired of the debate.
I've eaten eggs my entire life, and my blood work seems to be just fine. But I'm only 31, so I got a lot of life to live. So I don't know. Maybe eggs will kill me by, whatever. So I think, yes, in my opinion, I think eggs are totally fine to eat. Again, moderation.
Yeah.
Right? I don't mind having a drink in moderation, but I'm not going to drink the whole bottle. Yeah. Right? I'm okay eating a couple.
You might not
eggs.
even finish the glass. We're going to wait to see here.
We might have to edit it like going down because I might not finish it. But I'll eat 1 to 2 eggs a day in moderation. I'm not going to eat the whole carton. Right? So it's just that thing. But getting back to getting enough protein in first and foremost in your diet will allow you or will help your body not crave all the crap.
Right.
And that's what I've seen with myself, and that's what I've seen with my clients. The times where I don't, think about like when you're traveling, right? Traveling's the hardest because you don't really have the opportunity to make your own food, or maybe being at the firehouse that's one way to look at it in terms of traveling, because you might not always have the ability to make your own food. And when you're not able to make your own food or eat enough protein or whatever it is, that's normally when people crave or overeat or eat junk food or whatever it is.
They're trying to fill the void.
They're just
right?
They're trying to fill the void. So enough protein first and foremost, and then making it as simple as possible. Avoid fried foods, avoid bread, avoid sugar, and alcohol. Those are the 4. If you can stay away from anything fried, if you can stay away from bread, you can stay away from sugar, like candies, sweets, pastries, whatever, and you can stay away from alcohol, and you're eating enough protein. So those 5 things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you're not going to get leaner unless you're just overeating tons of meat, fish, fruits, and vegetables.
Right. I gotcha. Right.
And I mean, it's really hard to overeat fruit, meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, maybe nuts, seeds. Like it's hard to overeat those things because they're filling.
Yes.
So your body...
It's not hard to overeat the bag of Doritos.
It's not hard to overeat that. It's not hard to overeat cookies. It's not hard to overeat Coca-Cola or drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what makes people unhealthy. So if you can think no fried food, no bread, stay away from sugar.
Do you think that just, we're in this, kind of a pretty wild political climate right now, and there's a lot of, I'm going to promise this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to change these things, and just, I'm just curious. Like, you look at the debate on sodas.
Yeah.
Should we ban anything? Should we regulate anything like that? What's your opinion? How big is too big? The super size at the movie theater? I don't know. I mean, do we do that kind of thing or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little extreme, the supersized stuff or whatever. I mean, I'm guilty just as much of anyone of eating sugar, drinking a pop, drinking alcohol here and there, having fast food every once in a while. I mean, I love Culver's. I mean, I absolutely love it. But what
do you love? What do you get there?
I get just a crispy chicken sandwich, which is exactly everything I just went against. Fried food and bread.
Right.
Right.
But
I don't do that every day or every week.
Sure.
Right? I mean, maybe once a week I will get that. But if that one time a week where I'm getting Culver's and I am satisfying that craving, right? But the other, how many ever meals I'm eating that week, I'm staying extremely disciplined, I'm still going to be able to hit my goals, right? It's that balance and it's that moderation, the cliche saying of eat clean 80% of the time and you can cheat 20% of the time. Once you are at your goal, that's the other thing where a lot of people go wrong. That's just kind of made me think of that. 80-20 only accounts for when you're in shape.
Right.
So if you are not in shape, and you are not hitting your goal, or you're not at your goal yet, there's no cheat days.
Yeah, you can't think that I worked out today, therefore I deserve the Big Mac.
Yeah. If you're 50 pounds overweight, and you are giving yourself cheat days, you are in a world of hurt when it comes to
you're putting yourself in a hole already.
Yeah. You need to be disciplined, extremely disciplined, almost perfect as you can be until you hit your goal. And once you're at your goal or at your goal weight or at a body type that you enjoy looking at or are satisfied with,
do you think that every day, you talked about the individual, so just to kind of bring this back, you talked about the getting started process, and an individual saying, I'm ready to do this, I don't know where to begin, but I'm going to get some tips, I'm going to talk to a nutritionist, I'm going to talk to a physical fitness coach, life coach, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Okay. And then, you talked about hey, I just want to see you in here once a week.
Yeah.
Well, when someone gets, things dialed in pretty tight, do you advocate for staying on that 7 days a week? Or do you advocate for, all right, take the 1 day off and do the recovery? Or do you advocate for, why take why take a day off what if you just do make, your seventh day is just go for a walk? What do you promote movement all the time, I guess is what I'm driving.
I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but I think what you just said, where that brought me to, is very similar to working out. With your diet and with your nutrition, you can't change everything at once. I said, yes, you need to be disciplined. It's hard to cheat. But again, I would never tell a client, hey, you got to eat chicken and rice and broccoli 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. And you need to, just like I wouldn't tell them, you need to work out 7 days a week. Going from a bad diet and doing no movement to doing that, they will not be able to do it. So you slowly introduce the healthy eating, just as you slowly introduce the working out. And then you build both up over time. So maybe I have a client that does no working out, and I have a client that diet is just terrible. Mm-hmm. I introduce that 1 day of working out, and I say, hey, you drink no water throughout the day. All you drink is diet soda and juice or milk or whatever it is. Let's start with keep doing everything you're doing, but include 50 ounces of just regular water throughout the day. And whether they're still drinking the diet soda and the juice and the milk or the high caloric beverages or whatever it is, just drinking the 50 ounces of water is going to make them healthier in general. But it's also going to get them more full, so they're not going to reach.
You're giving them a positive goal.
Just give them a positive goal. Keep letting them do all the negative things that they're doing.
Yeah.
And then over time, you introduce more positive goals, or you introduce more healthy eating, or whatever the situation is with the nutrition. Just like you increase the fitness at the same time. But again, I don't remember exactly what your
I was just curious. Again, there's you mentioned you can scroll on any of the social media platforms, and there'll be somebody telling you work out 7 days a week.
Right.
Don't take a day off.
Right.
And then you'll see the next person be like, well, you got to, the rest day is important, and it's just as important. And So I don't know. I just again was thinking, is it better for the rest day? Is it better for you just to say, do something every day and go with that?
I think it comes down to whatever works best for the person's schedule, the individual schedule. I know some people that are extremely fit and they only work out 3 days a week because their diet is really dialed in and it's really good. And they only have 3 days a week to work out, whether that's because of family, work, whatever the situation is. That's the only... If I tell you to get to the gym 7 days a week, but it stresses the hell out of you, it doesn't work for you. It's not a good plan, right? You have to find the plan that works the best for the client. Like me personally, I spend so much time at the gym. I hate going into the gym on the weekends. I hate it. Really? I'm at the gym from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through almost Friday. Fridays, sometimes I get off a little bit early, but 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm not consistently working 12 hours a day, but I'm there. I am present. I'm working on workouts. I'm with clients. I'm working out myself. I'm doing whatever. When Saturday comes, sometimes I'll coach some group classes in the morning every once in a while, but like Saturday and Sunday, I don't want anything to do with the gym.
Yeah.
And so if someone made me go to the gym on Saturday and Sunday, I would hate working out. I would hate it. I wouldn't want to do it. So that's not a good program.
Like that would throw you out of balance.
That would throw me out of balance. I wouldn't want to do it. I'd be stressed out. I would just be angry and I wouldn't want to do it. Maybe somebody is so busy throughout Monday through Friday, throughout the week with family, work, whatever. Maybe their only opportunity to get to the gym and enjoy working out is Saturday and Sunday. So maybe 2 days a week, that's all that works for them. I think what social media has done and society has done is said, this is the right way. This is the right way.
Yep.
No, this is the right way.
And that's where
I think it's so confusing that nobody knows what to do. And at the end of the day, you can pick some of this way and you can pick some of this way and you can pick some of this way.
Yeah, there you go.
And you can get to your goal just fine. And so I don't just do carnivore diet. I don't just do CrossFit. I don't just do bodybuilding. Yep. I do drink a little alcohol here and there. I do enjoy a diet soda here and there. I don't totally avoid sweets. I do miss days at the gym. There's some days where I don't feel like working out and I don't work out. Right. And it's okay. Right. So I think it's just wrapping your head around what fits in best to your schedule. And that is a good point for firefighters too, because someday they might get off shift, right, at maybe 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning or whatever it is. And they might feel the need to go to the gym because they weren't able to get a workout in for 24 hours. Yeah, well, sure. Well, if they're beat to shit because they had a late night or they had a lot of calls or whatever, I would say, well, skip the gym, man. Go get some sleep. Yeah. Go sleep until you wake up. And then when you wake up, hit the gym. Yeah, because it does. It all, and to kind of just bring this all together, there are, I think part of the conversation that we're having here is that we're shedding light on the fact that there are a lot of moving parts to having a healthy, to being fit. Yeah. And we on the show, we do include physical fitness, health benefits, and also mental, wellness. Sure. And to what you just said, like, say a firefighter or a police officer getting off shift, and it's like, what kind of workout are you going to have going in after you've had zero sleep? Go sleep. Right. Get somehow, some way, get those hours that you're missing. You're going to be better. You're going to feel better at, getting in. And again, I can see people, saying, no, bullshit. I feel better if I just get to the gym, and maybe you do. Maybe that works for them. That's not a criticism by any means. I think that the emphasis is, there's a lot of moving parts. There's sleep, there's diet, there's physical fitness, putting in the work. Yeah. And then we haven't even really done much talk. Hydration. Yeah. All this stuff. And then, what to avoid and things of that nature. And then, I've wanted to make sure that we address the fact that there are these stumbling blocks that do confuse people. Yeah. And it sounds to me like it goes back to we're being told somehow, some way, we're getting fed information from so many places about if you do this, that's the right way. I love what you just said. I love what you just said. Follow me on whatever, right, and I'm going to tell you the right way. Yeah. And then you just
a nanosecond later, you scroll up and you're like, but this person's saying they're the right way.
Right. Yeah, and it's hard because you can get easily influenced, right, by influencers where like,
Sure.
oh man, this girl or guy or whatever has like a super nice body. I want to look like this person, right?
Yeah.
I want to do this. This person's life looks really good. I want to be like them. Oh, I'll buy their program or do whatever. But again, at the end of the day, I think it's just people wrapping their head around the fact that the thing that is going to get you to your goal is whatever allows you to be consistent. And I remember my brother approached me one time about like losing weight, getting a little bit better shape. He's got 3 kids, so he got really busy at one point and wasn't able to get to the gym much. And he's like, dude, what do I do? Like, what should I do? And I said, just do whatever allows you to do something every day. So after he got off work, he did like, I don't know, something like 10 to 40 sled pushes a day.
Sure.
That's like all he did. He didn't want to have to think about anything else. He just wanted to move around. He wanted to sweat. He wanted to do it. So he would just do 10 to 40 sled pushes a day, whatever he had time for, and then he'd get out. And he would just do that every single day. And he lost like 15 pounds, something like that, literally just pushing a sled because guess what? He did it every day. He did it consistently. Maybe he added a little bit of weight after a couple of weeks or whatever, but he went from not working out very much to just doing something extremely consistently. And if I would have said, hey, bro, I know what you need. You need this fitness program. And, hit legs this day, hit chest this day, hit back this day. He would have looked at that and been like, dude, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Right. But I was just like, just do whatever you like doing in the gym and do whatever is easy and allows you to do it every single day.
Yeah.
And so, he started out with maybe 1 or 2 days a week, like we were talking about. He had time for then he made a little bit more time in his schedule. And then, he built up to those 5 days a week. But again, it was just something where, maybe he threw in some stuff down the road, but find something that you enjoy doing. That might be a spin class. That might be doing 100 push-ups at the firehouse when you have a break. If you like doing push-ups, do push-ups.
Yeah.
Maybe you start day one.
But don't skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day.
I know you.
Here's an easy
You've
one.
always said, you have always told me, you said, if you do legs, everything else will follow. You kind of said something along those
everything
lines.
else gets easier.
Yeah.
Like if you're not training the legs are it's a big portion of your body,
sure,
right? From your waist down, right? It's half your body.
Yeah.
So if you're not working out half your body is not going to feel very good.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be noticeable too.
That it's also going to be noticeable. And, working out your legs helps allow the other half, your top half of your body, get a little bit stronger as well. But if you want to talk about even like the firehouse, right? And you want to talk about a firefighter, maybe he doesn't have a ton of experience in the weight room. He's trying to get started. He's trying to find a routine. Maybe every time he's on shift, he starts with 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups, and he does that 3 times. That's 30 push-ups, 30 squats, 30 sit-ups. Maybe he just does that every time he's on shift.
Right. Yep.
Maybe he does it all at once because he's got the time. Maybe he spreads it out. 1 set in the morning, 1 set in the afternoon, 1 set at night.
Yep.
Over time, then he can build up the reps, he can build up the sets, but you just start small and you just gradually work into it. You work more. And if you start small, it's going to motivate you to want to do more later on.
Yeah.
If I said do 100, you're going to get to 20 or 30.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're working an uphill stream, right? So you want to start small.
And I think, and you just don't end up being really very honest with yourself.
No.
Because then you start thinking, I was told to do 100, but I did 40, so I'm just going to call it good.
So now you feel like crap because you're like,
but you're kind of,
I didn't hit my goal.
Yeah. So no, I do. I will say, and the benefit of the conversation is, first of all, what I hear is persistence and consistency.
Yeah.
Those are, if we say that those 2 words sort of fit with the conversation, persistence. Be persistent and be consistent.
Yeah, be disciplined.
Yeah.
And do something as often as you're able to do it without going crazy.
Yeah.
I think one of the other, like the big thing that I see with my clients that are very successful with hitting their goals is finding a way to structure your day around your workout, not fit your workout into your day. right? So
Right.
whether that's like, all right, my day starts with my workout. So I'm a morning person. So I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. I'm going to hit the gym, go back home, take care of the kids, get off to work. Maybe that's your day.
Or if you can't get to the gym, do that
at home,
do something,
or whatever.
do this,
Just
do
get
this,
up early enough. Yeah.
Some sort of a fitness cycle or something.
Whatever
of
it
that
is,
nature.
right? Find a routine that works
Yep.
for you. Yeah, maybe you're a single parent. Maybe you can't make it to the gym. Maybe you just wake up, do a quick workout before the kids are up, and then whatever. Or maybe it works in your schedule to get to the gym because you work close to the gym. You can do it on your lunch break. Great.
Yep.
Maybe you go after work, or maybe you do your workout at home. But every single day, you better have that planned out, or weekly have it planned out. Maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, wherever it is in your training cycle or your training journey.
Yes.
Right? You know when you're working out. And that doesn't change unless you're sick. If you're sick, don't go to the gym. Because if your body, one, don't get everybody else sick.
Right.
And two, if your body's trying to get healthy, it can't get stronger.
Yeah.
You're not going to be making any improvements. But make the workout. And that comes back to full circle, enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Right? Like tomorrow, I know I'm working out at 2 p.m. I know I'm working out at 2 p.m. I know who I'm working out with. Maybe it's by myself. Maybe it's with a partner. Maybe it's with a group.
Yep.
And I know probably what I'm going to do.
Sure.
And I can't wait till 2 p.m. And so maybe that's
Like
noon
you're
for some
already
people.
thinking about it. Like you're
I'm
ready
already
to go
thinking
do
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Like I'm already thinking about like I'm going to wake up. I'm going to work from 6 to pretty much 2. And I'm going to get through work. I'm going to train some clients. It's going to be great. But I can't wait for that break.
Yeah.
Right? Because that breaks, then it's my turn. And I get to work out a little bit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like if people had that time in their day, whether it was beginning, if you go sit at a desk every day, let's say you're an accountant, and it's like, well, maybe you need to just charge up. Go get that workout in before work, and that pushes you through your day. Or maybe it makes sense to have that workout in the middle of your day. Go work
Break it
4
up.
hours, go charge up for the afternoon, and then go work, or maybe it's the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever it is, whatever works for you. Again, it doesn't matter. It is, the whole morning routine thing. And,
Yeah, again, and that's some
having
of
to do
the-
an ice
yeah.
plunge in the morning. And it's just like, it's crazy, right? Like you don't
I kind of
need
believe
that.
in the ice plunge. You noted you were what, 31?
31.
Oh, when you get to 51, the ice plunge is kind of nice.
I mean, it would be-
it's helpful.
I'm going to be honest. If I had the time to do an ice plunge in the morning, I would maybe, if I had the motivation.
There's studies out there if you do 2 minutes a day or 3 minutes a day,
Yeah.
I think it's like 11 minutes a week.
Yeah.
If you did that, like the benefits.
That's kind of like supplements with me though. Like if your training is not dialed in and your nutrition's not dialed in and you're more worried about ice plunging, like, you got you got more things to worry about.
And again, for sake of the conversation and where we're going to end up at here is that you do have to have some of these basic things dialed in before you start to add in, supplements or some other, regimen. I mentioned the ice plunge and I do actually, I actually started doing it and I see the benefit. It feels good. It feels very energetic. It gives you a feeling of energy, I guess is what I'm saying.
But again, that's a situation where you have put in the time in the gym. You train consistently now. You're just talking about before we started the podcast that you're on vacation. You're even at a point where you're working out every day on vacation.
Yeah.
Right. So you're disciplined in your working out. You're disciplined in your nutrition. And so adding in supplements or these other things makes sense for you where you're at in your fitness journey. And that's not a bad thing. Like if you can, again, if I had a sauna at my house and a cold plunge at my house and it made sense to fit those things in, I would totally do it. But it's just like, do the basics before you start trying to do all the
I think for people that are still hanging in there with the conversation, listening, hopefully you're getting something that will benefit you in some capacity, whether it's like you say, you're just starting out your fitness journey or your well-being journey, you want to make some changes. Don't make these huge changes. Start out small, make them attainable. As you get further in that journey and you grow into that routine, which I shouldn't even use that. When you feel like you're in a routine, I think it's good to change it up. challenge yourself to the next thing, try to,
Well, when it stops working.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in a routine and it's working, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's why I tell people all the time. They're like, I feel like I'm doing the same workout all the time. I'm like, okay, well, are you feeling good? Are you still losing weight? And do you like the way you look in the mirror?
Yeah.
Your clothes fitting good?
So you recommend a change to happen when you plateau. Stop. Yeah. And you stop seeing, some certain benefit that, you're not seeing the pounds dropping off as quick as they were, or the clothes are starting to feel tight again. So maybe you're not.
Yeah, something happened.
Something
right?
happened.
I mean, if you're in a routine that is working for you, there's no reason to change it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, once your routine stops working for you and you stop seeing results, well, then it's a good idea to change something. But again, you don't change everything. Right?
No.
Because it was working for a while.
And that's where things will fail.
And so just like you start out small and you make small adjustments building up to your goal, once you start making some good progress, all you have to do is adjust some small things. Maybe it could be a few less calories or a few extra minutes of cardio per day or whatever. If you're still trying to lose another 5 to 10 pounds or whatever the situation is, you just... Like, let's bring it back to the firefighter at the firehouse who starts with zero experience, and we're going to give him 2 days a week. He's going to do 3 sets of 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups. He's going to do that 2 days a week, 3 sets, 10, 10, 10 for, I don't care if it's a year. If he's seeing results, keep doing it.
Yes.
And then when he stops seeing results, okay, let's add in that 3rd day. So now it's 3 sets of 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 sit-ups.
Or add 5 more.
Or whatever. If you can't do the 3rd day, add more reps on the 2 days or whatever it is. But you just ride that out. And I think because it's monotonous and because sometimes it does take discipline and maybe it gets boring or whatever. I mean, working out is boring at the end of the day in one way, shape, or form because you're doing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so that's why, again, fall in love with the process, enjoy your training, structure it around your day.
Find friends that
don't
talk to them for the whole for the whole session, but it's always good to wave at people and see familiar faces. I mean, that's always a nice thing.
Yeah, find a workout partner, find a buddy at the firehouse, whatever it is, and do quit looking at your phone.
I will say there's been some great firefighter challenges. In fact, what we would like to do is hear from some listeners and viewers. If you've done particular firefighter challenges at your house, where you're trying to see who loses the most in a 90-day period or whatever, we would drop us a message that says this is what we did and this is what worked, and maybe we'll have you back to talk through some of those things and just sort of feature what some of those firefighters and fire departments are doing out there. And I know that they're always up to doing something, and I will say my journey through the fire service has been, I could see it, and I didn't know that it was happening because I was 22 years old when I started.
Sure.
And so to me, it made sense that this is the way that we ate.
Yeah.
And, there was very little workout equipment in the firehouse at that time. Now, just about every single firehouse that we have has almost pretty much a full gym, that's in the firehouse. And so I think that we're certainly going the right way.
Right.
We are going the right way. But I think that one of the things I just want to be clear and make sure that we emphasize is that, one of the things I was excited about having this conversation with you about is highlighting the fact that in this country, heart disease still continues to be the number one killer in the United States is heart disease. And that study is showing that we're seeing it as early as 35 years old.
Yeah.
Heart disease at 35 years old.
Yeah.
So, and then add on, from my perspective, the fire service and the firefighting aspect of it, where we're seeing, what did I mention? 36% of our line of duty deaths are coming from heart attacks.
Yeah.
And that is what is I guess a call to action for this particular episode is to say, do your best, try, some of these things that we've discussed on the show, do what works for you. Yes. But have a plan, and try to be consistent.
Yeah, and I think you talking about that brings up maybe just a topic we can touch upon real quick. But I think what's that statistic about the heart disease?
Yeah, so for line of duty deaths, the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, identified that between year 2022, 2023, that 36% of those line of duty deaths were accounted for heart attacks being the cause.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you, because I don't know, because I only see the firefighters or the police officers that go to the gym, and most that go to the gym are relatively fit, right?
Yeah,
because they go to the gym. But
yeah.
would you say in general, police officers and firefighters as a whole, let's say you have 20 of them at the firehouse, how many of them are fit? How many of them are not fit?
Yeah, it's here again, and we got to. I'm going to go with this. It's going in the right direction.
Okay.
I mean, I'll give you another.
But there are some that are not fit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's just the way that. Yes, of course, there are definitely some unfit first responders. I mean, but there's also unfit construction workers, and of all walks of life. So absolutely, but yes, there are definitely unfit firefighters, and you do worry about that. You worry about the fact that not only are they, we'll just go with the easy one. They're overweight, and then on top of that, they're putting such stress on themselves.
Which does not help.
And really, what's happening is that just by nature of the job, inherently, that stress is just being put upon them. They don't. Sometimes I don't even think they realize how much it's getting. Their body.
Yeah, you don't know.
is impacting that.
It's your job, and to wake up and do it every day.
It's 1,000 razor cuts.
Yeah,
is the way I like to describe it. So, and you just don't realize it until that moment where you get the chest clutch and go, uh-oh, lights out, and that's the part that is maybe the benefit here of the conversation is that if you are listening, if you take to heart trying to be a firefighter or trying to be any first responder and doing it being not in good shape is just a really hard way of doing this job.
Well, I think if I think about the clients of mine that are the most fit or the clients of mine that make the most progress from the day they start to now, or maybe the day that they finish training or whatever the situation is, it's because they legitimately had a reason of why. Right. And so like a lot of the times they went to the doctor, maybe they're in their 50s or 60s or 70s or whatever. And they went to the doctor and the doctor said, hey, you're not in very good health. You need to start working out. You're frail or you're overweight or your blood work is really bad or whatever. You need to start doing X, Y, and Z to get in better shape.
Yeah.
They have a reason to come see me or to start at the gym. And they have a motivation of why to do it. Well, I don't want to have a heart attack when I'm 65. I don't want to die when I'm 70. I don't want to not be able to play golf. I don't want to do any of these things.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes down to it, I guess one thought that comes into my head, which we may have talked about before, was that firefighters or first responders in general, have a reason to be in shape when they join the academy or when they join whatever, because they have to pass the tests.
For sure.
They have a reason.
Yes.
Right? And it makes sense. Like, I got to bust my ass because I want this job. That's the reason why. Yeah. Well, once they're handed that job.
Yes.
Right?
They put on what's called the freshman 20.
There you go. Right?
They put on the 20 pounds.
And just like whether it's firefighters or police officers or whatever it is, whether it's somebody that doesn't have either of those positions and have just reached a goal, they've gotten to it. So to stay motivated and stay disciplined, they need the next why. And for some first responders, it's like, I don't ever want to slip up on the job. Right? I don't ever want, one of my buddies to be trapped and I can't drag them out.
Right. Exactly.
I don't ever want to not be able to chase down,
pull my weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't ever want to be able to not pull my weight on the job. And that's enough motivation for or I just want to be healthy enough to get myself out of danger. Yeah. Right? Both sides of that story. That's enough motivation to keep some first responders in shape. It's a huge mantra of our business, our brand here is we want you to enjoy your off days. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, it's gear for your off days, original firefighter. We talk about, we have so much emphasis about what we're doing on the job. You're fighting fires, you're dragging people, you're paramedicizing, you're running 15, 20, 25 calls a day.
Right.
And you're just being, it's an onslaught of stress, whether it's emotional stress, physical stress. And then you hang up your gear.
Yeah.
And you walk out of the firehouse, and those are your days off. Right. And so, the challenge or the question is what are you doing with those off days? Right. And for the sake of this conversation, we're obviously, strenuously emphasizing that hopefully you're doing something that physically and mentally benefits you.
Right.
And I think that's been probably the best part about having this conversation with you today is getting down to that. Maybe some things that people have already heard, and it's like, oh, I've heard this before and whatever. It's like, yeah, but if you keep it simple, if you do, like we talked about, basics.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
And don't end up trying to go for something that you are going to maybe get discouraged by.
Yeah.
Find that thing, or find a person like you to say, hey, I'm not exactly sure what I want. I think actually I've done that with you where I'm like, I think I want this, but I don't know how to get there. And I'm my age is this, and I can't do the things I was doing before, but I want to try to do as much as I can. What should I do, Phil? And you've sat down with me and said, let's try to do these things. And most of the things that you end up talking to me about is doing things in small increments.
Yeah, I think, in summary, it's, if you're starting from not much of an experience when it comes to working out or trying to get back on the horse of working out, it's start slow, do something that allows you to move or you enjoy doing on a regular basis, and have a reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can kind of tackle those 3 points, then
I like the why.
Yeah. Because if you don't know why,
that's a good one.
If you don't know why you're doing it, whether it's, I want to be able to play with my kids, I want to show my kids I'm fit, I want them to be fit, I want to be able to, respond in a first responder situation at the best of my ability, or I just want to look better, I want to feel better, I want to do my job better, right? Like,
I want my confidence to go up, or whatever it is.
I mean, you have to find a why, and you have to remind yourself of that why every day. And outside of that, just don't get too discouraged, start slow, and just realize it's going to take a little time, and just enjoy the process.
What do you hope for yourself as you move through this? As you're 31, you've been a personal trainer for quite a long time. You've been with a particular gym, and what do you want to do next? What's your hope?
Yeah, I think for me, my emphasis on working out, or my I guess intensity or direction, has changed a little bit over the years. Originally, it was I want to perform the best at sports, right? So that was my why. That's why I'm working out. And then it was I as a young buck, I guess, when it comes to working out or being in the gym or whatever, I just wanted to be the biggest, strongest, fittest guy in there. And I think, getting into my 30s now, it's changed to, I want to be really healthy. I want to help as many people as possible. I've started some group classes outside of my individual personal training. And I think for me,
Are you doing that still? Are you doing individual personal training?
Yeah, I'm doing individual. I do one-on-one personal training. That's kind of my meat and potatoes. I do one-on-one training. And
is that outside of the Peak Gym? Or
No. Just at Peak. There? Yeah, okay, I do one-on-one personal training with Peak, and then I do group classes at Peak now. And I think for me, I think I have established and I've created a program for a niche of people where basically the people we've been talking about this whole podcast, just the people that don't really know where to start, and they need direction on where to go without it being too overwhelming to be able to get to their goal. And I want to just be able to relay that message to more and more people. So I'm starting that with group classes, and then, eventually if it makes sense to start my own gym one day down the road, I mean, that would be awesome. But I think through my 20s, I've realized that, I want to continue to be in the health and fitness space. So where that exactly takes me, I don't know, but it'll be somewhere.
I think something I can give a personal testament to is that I think working with you, knowing you, I think something that you're doing is that you're actually probably helping a lot of people find their own footing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is good for what you're doing. I think, it's something that you can feel good about. And I don't know, I just think it says a lot about the way you approach, training and helping other people with their journey, as we keep saying. I've really appreciated our time here, Phil, and we definitely want to have you come back.
Yeah.
Have you had a good time?
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
I got to tell you, I'm getting pretty close here to finishing my moderation bourbon here for this sake of the show, because I could see some people going, my God, they're talking about physical fitness and they're drinking bourbon.
We're drinking.
Yeah, well, hey, we also like to have a little bit of fun in the show too, right?
Yep.
But no, I would love to have you back. I hope you've had a great time. And one of the things we want to make sure that we mention to those that are listening and following us, this particular episode, like we said, we emphasize the fact that line of duty deaths, they do happen, obviously, in the fire service. It is a tragedy that some of those deaths are a result of just sudden heart attack, sudden stroke. And that's a very real concern for first responders, firefighters especially. So we just want to make sure that that Original Firefighter is thinking about you guys. And we love having you viewing and listening to our show. Follow and like us. And Original Firefighter is gear for your off days, but this podcast is here for your off days. So enjoy, be safe, be well, and we'll see you again.